at the OFC Nations Cup just came to a conclusion. And let's start with the opening game today, actually. Papua New Guinea against Samoa. Let's remind ourselves of the situation that was at hand. Papua New Guinea needing the win, but not only that, needing the goal difference to go in their favor as well. So the idea in mind here, score as many goals as you can against the weakest opponent in the group, and also hope that Fiji do them a favor and score a lot of goals in their game against Tahiti that would follow this match, Papua New Guinea versus Samoa. And you look at the results, it's a narrow win for PNG, 2-1 actually. And I think that just kind of sums up the tournament here for Papua New Guinea. They end the group with 4 points, tied for second place, but ultimately it just was not enough for Papua New Guinea. And you look at the results that they were able to garner throughout the group, it really does make sense. So many times in every single game, including this one, Papua New Guinea created a lot of chances. There's a lot of dribble penetration, but once the ball got into the final third, they were just incredibly wasteful. The same thing happened in this game, and as was the case in all the games, only 2 players have really showed up for Papua New Guinea at this tournament and were consistent enough to be ruthless in front of goal, and that is Ati Kepo and Tommy Semi. And those were the 2 guys on target again today. But the rest of the supporting cast from Papua New Guinea just have not shown up this tournament. They really didn't show up today. Yes, they got the 3 points, but against the weakest team in the group, it's expected. And, you were hoping 4 or 5 goals against Samoa, no disrespect, and it simply didn't happen. So a really disappointing end to the tournament for Papua New Guinea. They were the runners-up in the last edition 8 years ago. So this is definitely not the result you're hoping for. There's definitely positives, right? It is that chance creation. If you look forward at the World Cup qualification games that are going to happen this fall, that's what you need to bank on, right? Those chance creations, those dribble penetrations, and hope that Tommy Semi and Ati Kepo can maintain their consistency in front of goal. But they're going to need more help going forward if they want to be able to compete against teams similar to them like Fiji or like Tahiti, because in this group, they failed against those teams. And for Samoa, honestly, it's a different story. Yes, they end the group with 0 points, right? They weren't able to get any sort of result in this tournament. But if you look at their past 2 appearances, it has been abysmal. Just the natural state of things for Samoan football is they are the weakest team out of the top 8 in the OFC. There's no question about it. It's been slow improvement since 2012. You look at the goal differentials that they've obtained. Well, let's go to 2012. -23, I believe, was the goal difference. Pretty crazy. You go 4 years later to 2016, it was -19. -19. This tournament, only -11, right? It's still pretty ridiculous, but that is an 8-goal differential improvement. And in 2 games, the opener Tahiti and in this last match against Papua New Guinea, it was tight. 2-0 loss to Tahiti, and then this game, 2-1. There was really good performances again from Mariner and from Farrell Trainer. Also, number 15 in the midfield, Steinmetz, I believe is his name. Really good activity, just box to box, getting on the ball, trying to push it forward at every opportunity. I actually really liked Samoa's play, and all things considered, truly, I thought they had a great game. And they only lost by 1 goal. They were 1 goal away from getting their first point ever at a major OFC competition. So I think this is genuine improvement for a team that has struggled for a very long time in this region. So yes, it still statistically doesn't look good, but I mean, hey, I was actually impressed with their response to going down in this tournament. Again, in this match, truly, for I would say a good 30 to 40 minutes, they actually bossed this game. And to do that against teams like Papua New Guinea and Tahiti, that is impressive for a team like Samoa. They are definitely on a rise contextually within their own realm, and they just need to keep going at it, right? This is a great experience for a team like Samoa. They needed these big competitive games at this tournament. Now they can take what they've learned here and immediately apply it in 3-4 months' time at the World Cup qualification. They'll have to start in the qualifying rounds, but you look at their opponents, Tonga, Cook Islands, and American Samoa, they are the clear favorites to join the rest of the 7 OFC members. It's basically going to be another OFC Nations Cup, but this is the perfect practice set for Samoa. And maybe, just maybe, they might be able to get a draw against one of these teams come fall. So all in all, a really good tournament for Samoa when you consider how poor they have been in the past. Moving to the last fixture that followed the Papua New Guinea-Samoa match, we had Fiji against Tahiti. So knowing that Papua New Guinea couldn't really improve their goal differential, really all Tahiti had to do was keep the game tight. They could have lost by even a couple of goals and it still would have been okay. So this match was just more so a nice practice session for both teams as they have really tough opponents awaiting them in the semifinals. Both teams set out their best 11 for the most part. Setakari Hughes ended up on the bench for Fiji, but that's okay. Get him some rest. He ended up seeing minutes in the second half, but overall, this was a really good, tight match between the two best teams in this group. And the takeaways that I've had for both Fiji and Tahiti throughout this group are the exact same after this match. Fiji have a really good and fun offense through Thomas Dunn, Nabil Beg, Roy Krishna, and it was a really nice play from left to right. Roy Krishna getting on the ball, moving it forward to Thomas Dunn, who ultimately drew the penalty. Roy Krishna steps up, the captain of the side, the best striker in the OFC region. He puts it away as he usually does. Fiji go up 1-0. And beyond that goal itself, Fiji crafted a lot of chances. They have great dribble penetrators, really good midfield as well to feed those players. But they also have just holes at the back. Tahiti, throughout this game, before they conceded as well, crafted several clear-cut opportunities through Degrumel and Tinau Rauari. And Tinau Rauari specifically missed a sitter from a really nice pass from Degrumel, but he just completely skied it. Low-key similar to that Alexis Sanchez chance we saw in the Chile-Peru game. Very, very similar, honestly. And at that point, Tahiti could have gone up 1-0, but it was just a missed opportunity. And even beyond that, Tahiti crafted a lot of other chances, but just couldn't put away any of them. I will say this was Tahiti's best game of the group, so that is good. They show that, against the best opponents, they can at least match up to them. But even then, Tahiti also have holes at the back to be exploited, and they definitely were. The penalty that was drawn, Fiji were able to just craft right through them, and that has happened all group play for Tahiti, even against Samoa. So looking forward for these two teams, let's go ahead and preview the semifinal now. So it will be New Zealand against Tahiti and Vanuatu, the hosts, against Fiji. Let's start with New Zealand, Tahiti. This will be interesting because Tahiti will take a defensive approach. The coach has taken a defensive approach this entire tournament. They were a little bit more ambitious here against Fiji, but I think it's because they knew that they could get away with conceding a couple of goals. So I think the circumstance really came into play. But knowing that they're playing against New Zealand, the clear favorites of this tournament, there is no way they're going to take an ambitious, courageous offensive approach here. There's just absolutely no way. It's going to be defensive from Tahiti, but here's the thing. It's New Zealand. I'm sorry, there's just absolutely no way Tahiti get a result here, even if they park the Even if they park the bus and put all 10 players in the box, New Zealand will find a way. I don't really see Tahiti getting a goal, maybe one, but New Zealand have yet to concede, and they've faced decent offenses in both Vanuatu and the Solomon Islands. I don't see Tahiti as being any better than those two sides, so I see this as a very comfortable result for New Zealand to get themselves into the final. The other game, though, is going to be a banger, and that's the one I'm really excited about. This is basically the final if you assume you can't beat New Zealand for these teams. So I'm really excited to watch this one because I think for these two teams specifically to get to this final, That's what they're aiming for. And then the rest is just going to be pure bonus, and you try to have a good game against the best team in the region, New Zealand. But Vanuatu, Fiji, I think is going to be a great matchup. Who I think is going to win, I'm actually going to go Vanuatu here. I think the hosts will use a bit of that support in the stadium. It's been fantastic. The support that they get from the Vanuatu locals is amazing. The 5,000 people show up and they stay there the entire time. You can tell they're very passionate about their team. They're very passionate about football. And I think that's going to help the local side Vanuatu to get past a really tough Fijian side. But beyond that, what we'll actually see on the pitch and what we've seen from Vanuatu is they're very good in building play up from the back, defense to offense. You have Brian Kaltak, the captain, at center back. He's been dominant in both games, even against New Zealand where they conceded 4 goals. He is the reason why they didn't concede 8. And you look at the rest of the players. Hopefully, Tasso Jeffrey will be healthy. Same with Boulay, both fullbacks. They'll be able to provide a lot of good width that can hurt Fiji. And then you still have really good creative players like Bonkalo as well as Tenene. And Spokey Jack has been really good too. I thought he was great against New Zealand. And considering the Fijian defense has been a little lacking against all 3 teams they faced in the group stage, I see Vanuatu getting goals, especially if they're at home. Now for Fiji, I think why this makes this such a really good game is they have a good offense too. I see them getting a couple of goals as well. I mean, they put 9 past Samoa, 5 past Papua New Guinea. They've been perfect this tournament. 3 games, 3 wins. But it's that defense is what I really do think is ultimately going to do them in. And I just see Vanuatu as the more balanced team overall. Now I will say this. I actually hope I'm wrong here because I hope Fiji win only so that I can see New Zealand face somebody new, right? We already know New Zealand Vanuatu. It ended 4-0. I think we'd see the same result if Vanuatu get to the final. I think Fiji, honestly, will probably lose 4-0 too if they get to the final, but hey, at least it'd be different. We get to see different players. We get to see Roy Krishna in an OFC Cup final. I think that'd be really cool to see, especially considering that he's in his mid-30s. This will probably be his last OFC Nations Cup, so I think it'd be cool to see him in this sort of stage. So I think Vanuatu will win, but low-key, I hope Fiji pull it off. Either way, I'm really excited for the semifinal, so stay tuned for those games that'll happen mid next week.